All right. And welcome to Wednesday Night Chats with Dads with your host, King Smith. This is a live stream streaming every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can find it on YouTube, my personal Facebook page, which ain't hard to find, Twitch and Twitter. And I also produce the audio version on my podcast, Today in My Life, which you can find on all major podcasting platforms. Before I get started and get into my guest who I'm bringing on this evening, I want to give two announcements. All right. There's two dads out there, guys who I consider friends, one guy who I consider a brother to me that have birthdays today. The first cat that I'm gonna highlight here is my boy Chad Mchenry. Chad, hey brother, you didn't know that I was gonna do this, but I know that you watching the show, and I wanted to tell you happy birthday, youngin. And the other guy who I have is one of my first supervisors in the Air Force. He used to live fairly close to me, and after he got out of the Navy, he's going on to do bigger and better things, and that is Denham Builder. He's a supervisor who I couldn't stand when I first got enlisted, but it was because I was young at the time, and the guy was teaching me values and stuff that I live by today as well. So I want to tell Denham Builder happy birthday as well. And Chad, I see that you saw. Hey, man, thanks, brother. Salute. All right. So my guest today, I've known since me and him were wee bit lads. We are the same age, and I would say that neither one of us is more handsomer than the other ones because we Smith boys. You know what I'm saying? We got them rolling genes in our family. But it's my cousin. It's my cousin by blood. He is a couple of months older than me. And what's interesting about him coming on to my show is anytime I've called him up about something or whatnot, he's picked up. But we don't chat that often. And what's funny is this show is probably going to be the longest we've chat combined if you were to go back the last 3 to 4 years since I've seen him. That's what I think is hilarious. But anytime we do get together, we always, chop it up and catch up. And it's like we've never lost any time. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my blood relative here, Michael Richardson. Mike, what's up, brother?
What's up, King? What's up, man? Yeah, no, it's crazy you say that, man. But it has been a long time. But I always have time for family. So yeah, you needed someone to come on. I'm here, man. I'm here for you.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said yes. I'm glad that you're taking the time out of your life to do this, man, away from your family and everything like that. So, hey, man, this show's an hour. It's gonna go by really, really fast, man. Trust me on that one. So, I don't know if you've done live streams in the past.
Nah, man. Come on. I'm not used to being on camera at all. I guess if you take the last 12 months of my life, doing Zoom calls and everything, it's kind of similar.
I know, right? That's crazy, bro. Just to think of how uh, everything changed. What was that? Spring of 2020, essentially.
Man, it's all running together now. I'm starting to forget, but yeah, it was a long ride. Which kind of goes into me having my son in March of 2020. Was yeah, it was tough on me, tough on the wife, tough on my other little girl. So yeah, COVID babies, it's a lot of anxiety, and yeah, but we're getting through it.
That's good, man. That's good. Let's go back. Let's go back to when me and you were both young. I'm going to tell you something that I remember about you to this day. So you look fit. You look healthy. All right. And I can go back when me and you were both teenagers, and you was the most water drinking, healthy individual that I knew. Like what? Like, are you still a healthy eater? And how did you get that way?
Oh man, am I a healthy eater? I think when I was younger, I loved water. That was always a good thing. But I loved like double cheeseburgers from Burger King, McDonald's. So I was going hard on that. But I think football kind of played a role into keeping me fit in a sense because obviously you played back in the day. I mean, you're constantly running and out in the sun, and when we're in the South, it's 95 degrees in the summertime, and we're trying to make things happen. But I think as it pertains to now, I try to stay as healthy as I can. I really focus on doing the right things for my body because I want to live a longer life, and and my wife is really keen on a lot of things. Like she doesn't eat red meat, so it's like, all right, how are we cooking? Yeah, I know. Yeah, how are we
Hey,
cooking for the night? Like, how am I going to cook for both of us, or how is she going to cook for both of us and make us both happy? But yeah, I mean, we try to do the healthy options when we can, just because we know it's not a short term thing; it's a long term thing that we're looking for and trying to sustain a healthy lifestyle moving forward for us and then our kids too. So,
okay, good deal, good deal. Now, when me and you, um, when you were a freshman in high school,
but,
you had a parent who was active duty Air Force at the time, and you ended up being down in Georgia, and you
mhm.
played high school football down there. When was it realized that you had a talent to be able to play at the next level?
Oh man, yeah, I would say my junior year of high school. I started to get letters from different colleges around the country, and it was just like, okay, this might be something. I don't know, and nobody knew back then because the social media world wasn't around, and I wasn't getting max prep sports coming in and giving
It's
me like all
different
these
now.
stars and everything. So I was just getting letters, and I wasn't getting phone calls, but towards the end of after my junior year and towards the beginning of my senior year, there were some coaches, college coaches, and scouts that started to come to the school. Luckily enough, I had another player that was a year older than me. Some people might know him, Willie Reed, played
Willie
Florida.
Reed.
Yeah, played at Florida State, got drafted by the Steelers, but he was like the Gatorade Georgia Player of the Year 2 years in a row. So there were a lot of eyes on our school, so to speak, and a lot of scouts coming to our games. So when they would come, they'd see me, and I was, at that time, I mean, I was probably the same size I am now. I was 5'11", 175, 180. I mean, I'm probably 195 now. So don't get
Yeah.
20 years, like don't judge me. Um, but yeah, they'd come and they'd see me and they'd want to know who I am and what I was about. They'd go pull my transcripts and they'd see that I was a good student. And I think a lot of that came from just growing up, like you said, with my mother being in the Air Force and my dad actually being a high school English teacher in our town. It just kind of instilled in me the discipline and what I needed to do in order to get to the next level. And once the scouts started coming, I was like, all right, I really need to buckle down. I really need to focus on this because this is an option for me. Being able to get a scholarship to pay for my education moving forward, and yeah, it ended up working out.
Did you ever have a time that you wanted to like slack around, like man, like the honor roll and staying doing the school and education and practice and I think you also did track too, right?
Yeah, I ran track too. Yeah, there were a ton of times that I thought about that, and there were times that I did do that. Um,
Oh,
you're, 17, 18-year-old kid, you want to let loose a little bit and go have fun with your boys and your girls if you had girls or your one girl. And you want to relax a little bit. So I did that when I could, but I always kept it in the back of my mind, like that end goal that I wanted. And I wanted to stay focused, and I didn't slip too far away from that goal. And I kind of set those steps up for what I wanted to do, what I needed to do to accomplish where I wanted to be. Towards the end of high school. So yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
hey man. I have a question, and I think that this is a really crucial question. All right, so I don't know how popular you were in high school, but you went to a fairly decent sized high school. You're a young, handsome dude, man. How did you stay, humble and keep the girls at bay to where you can really stay focused? Because I'm seeing a lot of dudes out here getting distracted, have the ability to, get to that next level, but they focus everywhere here and there and not really, stay in the course. So how did you help stay the course during that time period?
You know what's crazy? I mean, and it's crazy to think about it because this might sway a lot of people a different way, but you have the right mindset, I think. But I had a girlfriend, from my junior to senior year, and so I wasn't really out there trying to, be with every girl that that was running the streets. I had one girl that kind of kept me, you know, kind of my feet on the ground and kept me kind of solid and I didn't like sway. I wasn't out there trying to chase everything that was running around. You know what I mean? And that kind of like gave me a sense of stability. With everything else that was going on in my life at the time. Crazy enough. Um,
Nice.
a lot of parents don't want you to settle down and be serious with a girl or one girl, but that actually helped me. Um, so my mind wasn't running crazy. During those times, those last 2 years of high school.
Okay, cool. Now, did your dad ever give you the talk or anything like that? Or like how involved was he with, you know, with you having a girlfriend and then also thinking about where you were going to attend college after you graduated?
Yeah, I think as far as the talk goes, I mean that was, I had an older brother, so it was kind of known, as me growing up. I mean, my brother was 7 years older than me, so I kind of saw a lot of the things that he went through. And even though my parents probably wouldn't want me to know that I knew a lot of the stuff that they were talking about, I did. So it all kind of set in, and I had an understanding at that point by that time. But as far as picking a school to go to, um, you know, I think everybody in the Southeast and Georgia, they're going to this SEC. That's the mecca of college football in a sense. But I feel like I needed to do something different, and I was getting recruited by some of the more reputable academic schools across the country, and yeah, I think that you're 18 years old, you don't really know much, but I think that guidance that my mom and my dad kind of they led me down the right path in that sense. To visit some of those schools that were maybe not, the football program wasn't that the greatest, but as far as the academic side of things and being able to get a great decent reputable job coming out of college in the event that you don't make it to the NFL, which most people don't. I think that really swayed my decision in the right direction of choosing Notre Dame, um, and going there and having a college career there instead of like a University of Georgia, or University of Florida, in a sense. Even though those are great schools, but I really wanted to do something different. Me being a military kid, I felt like getting away from home wasn't that tough for me because I had been moving my whole childhood every 3 years. So I really needed to go somewhere that was going to be different, and I was going to meet a lot of new, different people from all over the country. And yeah, I think I got that with Notre Dame.
That was my next question, man. So you get to Notre Dame and you're a part of the football program, but they like I know that they do academics hard there as well as the requirements and stuff that you have to do to stay on the team and play Division 1 sports. What was that first year like away from home and away from your support system with your family, because you went from the south all the way up north?
Yeah, man, that was really tough. And yeah, I didn't think it would be as tough as it was in a sense. I think a lot of it had to do with me going from strictly playing offense. I was like a running back slash wide receiver in high school to when I got to Notre Dame. Coach Tyrone Willingham was the head coach there, and he said, Mike, we need you on defense. We need you to play corner. And I had no idea how to play corner. And so, I get up there. I'm going against some of the the top wide receiver recruits in the country that decided that Notre Dame was going to be their choice as well. So they know what they're doing. I have no clue what I'm doing, and it's like, all right, what camp was really tough. And I was undersized dude in that sense. I probably lost about 10 pounds the first week of camp. So I go from 175 to 165, and it's just like, man, am I cut out for this? And yeah, it really ate at me a lot. Like, is this the place that I needed to be? But I think that happens to a lot of people at that stage. And I really just dug deep into, like, all right, what do I want for my future? What do I want for life? Like, this is not like a 12-month decision. This is a 50-year decision. Like, I chose to come here for a reason, and I need to stick this through. And that kind of really tests a lot of people's mindsets. And yeah, it really tested me, but I was able to to kind of stick it out and make things work.
Nice, nice. Now, what was it that you ended up studying up there?
So I was a business marketing major, which at that point, early on, I didn't have any idea what that was either. But it really once you get settled in, dialed in, you start becoming friends with your classmates, because you all have the same classes, and you're on group projects together, and you really get a sense and a feel for what is needed. And it is, like you mentioned earlier, it's tough academically, but I think the system that they set up for the athletes is a really good system, as far as the study halls that we have to go to. They're mandatory from like 8 to 10 p.m., which goes back to another thing as far as time management, which you learn and you have to stick to, like, to a T, when you're an athlete in college, especially at that level. But yeah, it's really a program that sets you up for success, and as long as you follow it, as long as you're able to adapt to what you have to do, you're going to be fine. And you have a strong mindset, which luckily I did, after a while of getting my head beat in from 6 a.m. workouts, being a freshman. But you learn to adapt, and you make it work.
Now, you had your girlfriend in high school. Did she transition up to college with you, or what happened there during that
Yeah,
transition?
yeah. So I mean, I was with her, and it was we did the long distance thing for a while. But it's tough, especially when you're that young. Like I said, you don't really know anything at that point. And I like I said, she's part of what grounded me when I was in high school. So it helped out that I was kind of grounded, like, my freshman, sophomore year, trying to stay focused on what I needed to do, because I wasn't really a highly recruited person, and I'm this wide receiver that's going to cornerback that nobody knows. Like, everybody's like, who's Mike Richardson? Who the heck is this guy? Kid from Georgia that has no stars next to his name. Like, is he going to make it? No, they don't think I'm going to make it. So I really had something to prove. There was a chip on my shoulder, and I needed
Nice.
something to ground me, and that was it at the time. I didn't want to focus on trying to go out and party and hang out with girls as much as maybe some of my other classmates would. And not to say I didn't do that, because I did every once in a while. But it was just one of those things where we had it for a while, and then it got to the point where it just wasn't working. I was at one school, she was at another, and we had to kind of part our separate ways.
All right. Now, while you were in college and going through your program and everything like that,
Yep.
um, did you have any mentors outside of the university?
Hmm. Mentors outside of the university. I mean, there was always, family that I could call and talk to, about things. Maybe not necessarily they've been in my same position, but someone to kind of lean on. And I'd always, lean on my mom, my dad, my brother, and talk to them. My brother would come up a lot. My parents would come up for games, like a lot of weekends during the season, and it was always good to see them and have that
Nice.
support. Um, while I was there. Because yeah, I'm 11 hours away from home in a sense. So it's you're kind of on your own at that point. But yeah, they were always there for me, and it was great to have them come up and visit and be able to talk with and kind of talk through some of the things I was going through at that time. But yeah, no, it like I said, it was a great experience, and it's needed. It's needed for people to get away from home to be able to grow into the people they're going to be as adults. So.
All right. Now, were you able to finish your undergrad before the thought of, maybe playing at the next level happened?
Yeah. So I actually redshirted my freshman year, so never didn't play. Basically just practice. Got my brains beat in at the weight room. Tried to bulk up. I went up from 175 to 195 the first year.
Okay.
So that means I got a lot slower too. So I had to figure out how to move around all that weight. So that took a couple of years. But yeah, no, it's it 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 was tough, I think, for me, but I managed to make it work in a sense. Um, but yeah, go back to that question. What was that again?
All right. So I know that you finished your
Oh,
undergrad and
5 years.
and and,
See, that's
and
that's the football stuff coming out. That's what happens, man. I don't know. But but yeah, no, I finished in 4 years. But I had the fifth year of eligibility, so I played that fifth year. And yeah, that was kind of the time when, like, Charlie Weiss came in. He was our head coach, and I realized that I might have a shot at the next level, because he was saying, like, this is, you have the opportunity, you have the skill set. I mean, he coached at the plate for the Patriots for a number of years and won a Super Bowl with them, and he was yeah, he used to talk pretty highly about me and my ability. So that was really great to hear. But I did graduate. Took a couple graduate courses, my fifth year. But I think after the football season, I was really focused on making that transition and making it to the next level. So I hired an agent and started working out with some trainers in New Jersey, to get ready for my pro day. So I was, set for that when the scouts came to see and see what I had. So that was good.
now word on the street was during your pro day, you
Yep,
set a record or something, didn't you?
that I did. Yeah, yeah. So 40 time, it was tough. So I ran. I think some people had me at 4:38 for the 40. The first 40 I ran, it was like 4:38 to 4:45 that was on the clocks, and then I kind of partially, like, pulled my hamstring, and then the
Hmm.
second one I ran like a four. I think it was like a 4:48, 4:52 or something like that. But for the three cone drill, which I ran before that, set the all time record that no one's ever broken. No one's ever, hopefully, never going to break. It could happen. Record just made to be broken. But 6:27 in the three cone drill. It wasn't recorded because it wasn't officially at the combine, but at the pro day, yeah, 6.27 three cone drill. So
Man, that is a pop, 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 pop. That's fat.
anybody,
Like people don't understand.
wants to come get it, I can.
All right. Hey, for those of y'all that might catch this, y'all youngins coming up there, 627 in the three cone drill. That's the time to beat. You beat that, you come back into the comments and you let us know. You let Mike know that
Yep.
his time is going down.
Oh man, if someone can do it, hey, listen, that's awesome. But yeah, it was. I didn't even believe it when they told me. I mean, I know I crushed it, but they were like 6:27, and I was like, I don't know. But most of the scouts said, yeah, man, that's you were moving. So it's good stuff.
Okay. All right. So now you've gotten to your pro day, man. There's a time period between that and talking to teams, I guess, them gaining interest in things like that. Were your parents involved in, that process, or was that just a conversation between you and your agent?
No. They were definitely involved. So first of all, I mean, as far as picking an agent, that's a whole nother story because there's agents left and right trying to figure out, trying to get you signed to their company, and I really needed some guidance there, and wanted them to be around and them to um, kind of vet out the people that I was talking with. And as far as picking an agent, they were heavily involved in that process, and they took a trip up to New York to meet the agent that I eventually chose. I met with him numerous times before, but yeah, they were heavily involved, and I think we chose somebody that was really great, that kind of fit our values and what we believed in, and yeah, they helped me out with that tremendously.
Nice, nice. All right, now coming up to the draft day, man.
Mm.
Um, were you fairly confident at the time that you might have a chance to get drafted? And even if you didn't get drafted, what are the chances of, like, all right, well, I didn't get drafted per se, but I can still play in the NFL? Like, how
Yeah,
was that process for you?
it. I knew I could play in the NFL. I had that confidence at that point. I knew I was good enough. As far as getting drafted, that was the tough part. Um, I think if I would have been invited to the combine, it would have been a no brainer, and the eyes would have been on me, and they'd have been like, "Oh yeah, he's going, first day, round 1 through 3." But the fact that I wasn't, I think that took a toll on me in a sense of where I was picked. But it didn't bother me because I knew that once I got somewhere, I was gonna show that I was worthy of being there. But yeah, that draft day came along, and I think I'm trying to think back, man.
It's been hey, we'll be
I'll tell
20
you,
years out of high school,
yeah,
brother,
yeah.
this year.
I'll tell you. Yeah, that day came along, and I didn't really think it was kind of a crapshoot. But when I started getting calls before I got drafted, so I knew it was gonna happen. Tennessee called me, and they were like, "Listen, we're gonna take you at this pick," and I was like, "If no one else takes you," and I'm like, "All right, so we're probably about 20 picks away from that." I'm like, "All right, well, that's sweet." And then I get another call that day from Detroit, and they're like, "Yo, Mike, we're gonna take you as Mr. Relevant, the last pick. That's our plan." I'm like, "That's sweet," because that guy gets a parade in Disney World or whatever it is.
Yep.
With that, that's cool. I don't care. And I'm like, "All right." So I got Tennessee, I got Detroit, and then probably 5 minutes go by, and New England calls me up, and they're like, "Mike, we're gonna take you at pick 202, sixth round. Um, you know, be by your phone. Bill Belichick, Scott Peel are going to call you to introduce you to the Patriots." And I'm like, "Dude, this is awesome. Like, it couldn't have been a better situation because who doesn't want to go play for the Patriots, especially after the one they were having in the early 2000s." So yeah, that was it was insane. It was crazy. I'm like, man, this is like kind of all coming together. Um, yeah, and got the call, talked to Bill. He welcomed me, and I was over the moon, man. I was ready to get to work. So that all, it's crazy how it happens, man.
All right, now sum this up. I looked this up.
Yeah.
0.2%
Hmm.
of high school players make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest thing that you would like to impart on somebody that's in high school now? They're a sophomore, junior in high school. What's the biggest thing that you would tell them that they need to focus on if they want to try to play at the professional level?
I think as far as focus goes, I mean, it's all going to be focus on yourself. Um, it's it is a tough grind. It's really hard to make it to that level. Um, but I think just as far as not giving up in your dream. If you have a dream, man, what are you going to do for it? What do most people do when they have a dream? They wake up each and every day and push and try to take steps attain that goal of getting there. So just keep pushing along, man. That's what you have to do. And that's what I did. I mean, like I said, coming out of high school, nobody thought I was going to make it to the NFL. I don't think anybody had those aspirations. Maybe some of the other people that are in our town that were highly recruited, but I was just that guy that got good grades, which is one thing you should do. That's what you should focus on. Now that I think about it,
Yeah, you have to remain eligible to
listen,
play collegiate.
I I carried like a 3.9 all the way through high school. So that's what got a lot of the scouts interested. I was a decent athlete, but that is what really got people thinking like, man, this is the kind of guy we want. Somebody that's got the smarts that can handle himself in the classroom as well in the field. So that's really important. But then, yeah, just work harder than the next guy. You see somebody out there that's working harder, try to match that level of intensity because you need that, and it only gets harder and only gets tougher the higher levels you go. And I really found that out, and I found it out pretty quickly. But you just have to continue to press on and try to make yourself better. I mean, it is in a sense a mind thing. Your mind is a crazy muscle that it really wants to, when you're doing those reps in the gym and you're like, oh, I can't do anymore. It's the same thing. So if you feel like you don't want to do it anymore, you have to press forward and keep going. And I did that a ton coming up, and luckily I was able to make it. Not as far as I wanted to make it because I had higher goals, but I made it pretty far. And yeah, anybody can do it. You just have to put your mind to it and make sure your mind is intact and moving forward and moving up and onward in the right direction.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So y'all young folks out there who are listening, I mean, he's really, because it's hard to really say it quickly, given that we only have an hour, but I'm talking hard work. Just hard work, plain and simple. That there's gonna be times where it's gonna be challenging. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And but Mike was fortunate enough to have, family to lean on. Not everybody has family or older siblings or whatnot that they could kind of help count on to help, guide them or whatnot. But lean into your mentors or people around you that want to help see you succeed.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
So you get to the league, man,
Mhm.
and you're playing for the Patriots. All right, Bill Belichick. Your first 2 years on that team, they had a really good run. One of those years, bro. Um, when did you contribute on the field? No, actually, go back.
Mhm.
Your first practice, all right, where you're like in pads and you're out there and you've got Brady on the other side of the ball. I think Moss was on the team
Oh
that
yeah.
year. Like, how was that?
How was that, man? I'll tell you what. Randy Moss. Let's talk about him. I mean, obviously everybody our age, we know the mystique, what he's done, what he has accomplished as a wide receiver, and I knew it at that time too. And I'm a fresh rookie, fresh off the bus. I'm walking out first day of training camp, and Randy Moss was lined up across from me, and I'm having to guard him, and Tom Brady's over there about to throw him the ball, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is this? Why am I in this position? Like, how did I get here? So all that hard work really paid off, and it put me in that position where I'm having to cover Randy Moss with Tom Brady throwing him the ball. But but yeah, no. So it was tough, and it was just one of those things where I had to just like, all right, listen, Mike, you've done this, however many years now. You you're capable of doing it. Bill Belichick wouldn't have hired you if you weren't capable of doing it. So I had to put it in my mind, like, all right, I'm just gonna do what I can do. And hopefully he doesn't turn it on and run deep on me because I probably won't be able to keep up with him. But yeah, no, I think uh, the the first week or so of camp, I actually got the moniker of the Moss Killer with some of the vets on the team.
Girl.
Which there was one play he ran like an out, I think, and I don't think it was Tom throwing the ball, but I think it was one of the backups, and I just like broke in front of it and picked it off, took it to the house. And there was another one he ran like a deep in route, and I like drove on it, you know, batted it down, and people were just like, "Yo, that's Mike Rish, that's the moss killer, bro." Yeah, and it kind of stuck. So all through camp, I was the moss killer. So yeah, no, it was crazy. It is, if I hadn't done that, who knows what would have happened? But I I had an awesome camp. I played super well. I think we got to the third preseason game, and um, I actually started at nickel. We were down in Carolina, and I'm covering Steve Smith. He's in the slot, and I'm trying to keep him at bay in a sense. And I did an all right job, but I had some mixed up and some mess ups here and there, whatever everybody does. That's what preseason's for. But since I was a rookie, rookies don't get, they don't get that preferential treatment. And it's like the third, fourth quarter, and Bill sees me standing there, and he's like, "Get your ass in there! Like, you got to, get in there. You're a rookie." So I did, and I'm back out there, and I come up to make a tackle on a tight end, and I shatter my thumb.
Ouch.
Yeah, so that was tough. And my thumb's hanging off, and they take me into the locker room and do X-rays and all that, and they're like, "Yeah, it's broke." So I had to have surgery on that. So they put me on IR for that first year, which is the year that we went, 18-0, went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Giants. So Bill called me, put me on IR, and it was like, all right, well, I can either, go home and train on my own or whatever, rehab on my own, or I can stay around and learn from some of these old vets, the Tom Brady's, the Teddy Bruschi's, the Junior Seau's, all Dalius Thomas, like obviously Randy Moss, all those old guys that were there. And I was like, all right, well, yeah, that's a no brainer. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to work out. I'm going to rehab here. I'll be here in the meeting rooms every day. I'm soaking up as much as I can. I actually started helping the coaches break down film with opposing teams, route combinations and everything. So I was there. I was doing that, and I think it really paid off that I did do that. Because I was a 6th-round pick. It's easy to let somebody go that isn't really a high draft pick. But
Mm-hmm.
I stayed around and proved myself that I wanted to be there, and I wanted to do things the right way. And the next year, I came back, and I was able to play on defense some. I was on all the special teams, like busted my ass there and tried to make everything happen. So yeah, it worked out. And then I got injured the year after that, and they had to release me, which was unfortunate.
Now your first big game,
Yeah.
it came in prime time, didn't it?
Oh.
If you can think back that
Yeah,
far.
yeah. Denver Broncos. Monday night game, I think it
A
was.
Monday night game. It
Yeah.
was. Yep. Because I remember watching it. It was like, yo, that's close right there. Okay.
Yeah. Monday night game, Denver Broncos. Yeah, I couldn't tell you too much about the game. I remember I was covering Brandon Marshall a couple of times, and he's a big, slippery dude. Not so much anymore because we're all old now. But yeah, I remember that, and I remember just yeah, beating those guys that night. It was yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy that yeah, you think about it, all the things start coming back to me. But
That's what's up.
yeah, no, that was awesome. Awesome night. Awesome game to have my like debut and actually get a lot of playing time.
Now, the following year, as you said earlier, you got injured again and released by the Patriots,
Mhm.
and then you got signed into the Kansas City Chiefs, which I was stationed in the Air Force at the time in
Remember that.
Kansas. So I thought that was dope because during that time period, I spent 3 years overseas. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So obviously, me and you didn't have the chance to kind of catch up then. But when you got signed to the Chiefs, had the opportunity to come up and catch you play
Yeah.
a couple of games up there. What was the difference between like playing with different ball clubs and different coaches and having different teammates?
Yeah, no, I think as far as the Chiefs go, it was awesome, and I appreciate them bringing me on. and believing in me. And I think it was just a mindset type of thing at that point. I think the Chiefs went 4-12 the year before, so it was like they didn't have that winning mindset that the Patriots did when I was there. It was just like, oh, we're gonna win. It's you know a no brainer in a sense. And the Chiefs, had a lot of younger guys that they were awesome all stars in college and did super well. But at this point, it's like, what are we gonna do to get the Chiefs, the team to have that same mindset as the Patriots. So Scott Pioli, who was the GM that drafted me with the Patriots, he was a GM in Kansas City. So he brought a lot of the some of the Patriots over to KC at that time and tried to kind of create a different team culture. And it worked, I think, in a sense, because a lot of us, a lot of the guys are really bought in. And as far as the athletes, I mean, guys were, there were a ton of first and second round picks that were tremendous players. And me, I was just more so a special teams guy that would go down and bust the wedge up and break some skulls. But that's just what I did. And
Yeah.
but I get in. I started a few games with KC at nickel and played on defense a good bit. But it was just a different feel as far as the mentality of people. You could just kind of sense it, sense the difference. But it started to change. I think the next year, it kind of changed over, and I think they won the AFC West championship at that time. I think I was on my way out because I was an old, injured, beat up 4-year veteran, which I didn't have that many years. I mean, it's hard to say that when Tom Brady goes, I don't know, 23 years. How many years is he going on now?
Yeah, now that's crazy because he's technically old enough to be people's dads that are in the league now.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about. There's a question in the chat. Michael Carasquillo asks, how do you feel about where the Pats and Chiefs are at now?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, as far as the Patriots, I last year was tough, obviously. Such rapid, big changes. But I have all my faith in Belichick and his staff. I mean, they're going to turn it around. They always do. They always find a way. And I think, as far as the Chiefs go, I mean, sky's the limit for those guys. I mean, they're insane. Obviously, I got to get past Tom Brady, unfortunately, in a different division. But yeah, Pat Mahomes, like Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, all those guys, man. Like I haven't seen an offense that can do what they can do in a long time. I mean, it's insane. I will say, I will call this out right now, and I might be wrong. Arizona Cardinals, I feel like they're gonna do some work this year.
Y'all heard it. Hot take right here. Arizona Cardinals are gonna do some work this year. You know what? That'll be cool, man. It'll be interesting to come back and have this on here to be able to say, man, Enrich called it. Oh, we got our cousin
Oh,
that
what's
is
up,
that
Alicia?
is well. What's up, Leisha? She asked who's gonna win the Super Bowl.
Ooh, I mean, don't Tampa Bay got like 22 coming back?
It's hard when you look at the fact that they have a lot of returning starters and Tom Brady at quarterback. I'm not betting against them.
I
I'm
mean,
saying the Bucks.
he doesn't eat meat. He like eats like all vegetables and fruit. Like, come on. Why do you think I'm trying to get to that level? Like, I'm trying to. No, but yeah, no. I would say Tampa Bay is it's hard to say.
Now, oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say
Tampa
like
Bay.
I don't see. It's hard to see it being different. Um, obviously, I say Arizona's going to be there, but
Okay.
it'll be them in Tampa. We'll see.
All right. Cool. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to shortly about your time at the Colts. You were there just a year,
Yeah.
and then
A year.
did you get injured there as well?
No, so I was actually I was semi-injured going into playing for the Colts, but I got released around Christmas time, 2010. So that's going to the end of the year, and the Colts claimed me like right after that. So they had like I think it was like 2 weeks left in the season, and then we got into the wild card game for playoffs, and we lost to the Jets. So I was there for probably 3 weeks. And then after that season, the NFL lockout happened. That was 2011. So I kind of really didn't know what was going to happen in a sense. And for a lot of us, like veteran special teams type of guys, like they increased the new collective bargaining agreement increased our minimum salaries, and they, got rid of a lot of us to opt in for, some rookies that could kind of go down, run down, do the same things that we were doing on special teams, and pay them half the money. So
Man, that's
that's
the
business.
business side of the sports, man. The business sides of the
I understand
sports.
more. Yeah, I understood it at that time, so I wasn't like kind of I wasn't hurt too much over it. I realized that it was probably coming to the end of that, and I needed to start focusing on the next portion of my life.
Now, okay, speaking of the next portion of your life,
Yeah.
how did you get there? Like, when did you say, you know what? All right, this is done. It's been fun. Body's hurting. I want to try to, start on XYZ. You have your undergrad, you have these connections and networking things that you've also learned off the field. How did you get into your next phase initially?
Yeah, so it took some time, I think, and I was kind of beat down mentally, physically, but I knew I needed to. I wanted to stay with football if that was an option. So at that point, I was training in Boston, which is where I kind of like set my home base up. And I was going back there. I was working out, trying to stay healthy, just in case I got a call. But I realized, that 2011, I think it was, that it probably wasn't going to happen. So I thought about, all right, what do I want to do? And real estate came to mind. I was like, all right, well, I want to sell real estate. Um, where do they make the big money? Oh, commercial real estate, leasing out, office buildings and selling office buildings and whatnot. And I was living in downtown Boston, and that seemed like a great start for me, which I came to find out pretty quick that, they're not really just going to hire anybody off the streets that, doesn't have any experience in that sense. I had my real estate license at that time, but, I got in some of these meetings, and it was just like, or these interviews, and they were just like, yeah, I saw that too. Thanks, Rebecca. But I
Runs
realized
in the family. Rebecca runs in the family.
I realized like, yeah, this might not happen, but I decided that I needed to just start somewhere. So I started selling residential real estate in Boston, and it's a grind in that sense because it's 100% commission. You don't if you don't go out there and sell anything, you're not going to make any money. Luckily enough, I had something to fall back on because I saved a lot when I was playing in the league. But yeah, I did pretty well. I did that for 3 years, but I just felt like it wasn't the end all be all for me. I wanted something different, and I actually got an opportunity with Eli Lilly selling diabetes products in the Boston area. So became a pharmaceutical sales rep. Started doing that, and I did that for about 5.5 years up in Boston. And yeah, and that that was great. It was great while I did it. I mean, I was helping serve patients. I know we've had family members with diabetes and everything, so it kind of hit home for me, and it felt like the right thing to do because I was helping people, and that's essentially what I wanted to do moving forward.
So you've been doing that for a while now that I hear. That's the longest thing in your adult life that you've worked right now doing?
Yeah. So yeah, that longest, yeah, 5.5 years was the longest job I had, basically, with Eli Lilly. But I'd been trying to convince the wife to move down to Atlanta, um, to Georgia, for a while, and she, decided that she would take me up on my offer after about 10 years of convincing, and we made the move down. And I needed to find a job down here. I was kind of doing the back, and we actually found a house like during the pandemic because nobody was flying and nobody was moving on. We were the crazy ones that I decided to make it happen and bought a house. And I think a year ago, last June, and yeah, we came down here. I still was working for my past company up there, and was interviewing for a ton of jobs, and finally came across a company, Capsule, and yeah, they hired me, which was awesome. So they're basically a digital retail pharmacy that offers free same day delivery for medications for patients, and and they're based out of New York. Um, they've been around for about 5 years now, but they're have done very well up there, and now they're expanding across the country. And Atlanta was one of the large markets that they were expanding to, so they needed a sales force to go out to promote to the different doctors and specialties around Atlanta. So it was kind of like a perfect fit for me.
Nice.
Yes, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. I think I'm probably like a month in now. So going out there trying to promote it and trying to get doctors to prescribe or get their patients signed up with Capsule, and yeah, they're getting that free same day delivery. No cost to the practice, no cost to the patient. It's kind of a smooth transaction, especially for a lot of patients that are getting their care, like telemedicine, virtual health visits. I mean, it kind of makes sense for them to get that end to end care and get their medications delivered to their homes as well, instead of going to a CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, standing in line waiting for their medications and stuff. So
Good deal. Good deal. How do I get one of those capsule shirts, man? Because like you make
send
it
you,
look good. So
I can send you one if you want one. I got you, bro.
bet. All right. Good
I can send
looking
you one.
now.
Yeah, yeah. They're only in larger markets now. I don't know who all's listening, but they're only in larger markets now. So I think New York, DC, Philly, Charlotte, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Miami, Nashville, and then out west like Denver, LA, Portland, those guys. So it's not they have like a small area outside of like large metropolitan areas that we can deliver to, but that's hopefully going to change after we start blowing it up everywhere.
All right, nice, nice. Hey, I normally have the show go an hour, but I got a couple of more stuff for you. Can you give me another 15 to
Oh,
20?
I ain't got anything. The wife's not bothering me. I don't know where she at. She's going somewhere. I don't know. Kids are asleep, so we good. Let's go.
Let's rock. Let's rock. All right. So, as we talked about earlier, you got two young ones. You started late, bro. Um,
Did I? Or did you start early?
hey, you know what? It depends on how you look
Who
at it,
knows?
man.
Who knows?
Uh, Castle is
Yeah, how old?
14. She's a freshman in high school, bro.
Dang.
And you've got a 4-year-old about to be 5
Yeah.
and a 3-year-old.
One about to be 35.
Yeah. And that's the youngest?
Yeah, yeah. He's 1.5. But he's just a ball of fire. Um, but yeah, he's a little guy, little James.
How's that been for you, man? Having two young ones, both still aren't school age. COVID hit you guys, spring of last year. What toll did that take on you and your wife, or did it take any toll at all?
Yeah, I mean it. I want to say like I guess right before James was born. I mean, Savvy was, she was, I guess, 3 at that time, and we were up in Massachusetts, and this whole COVID thing started, and we're like, she's Amanda's like, I don't know, 8 months pregnant, and she's like, what the heck is going on? What are we doing? Like, but nobody really knew what it was at that point. So we, it's March 14th. We go to check in at the hospital, and we're trying to figure out, all right, no one's wearing masks at this point, but it's right after like a big conference in Boston happened, and like there was a big outbreak, and they sent everybody to the hospital that we were having the baby at, and there's all these people in hazmat suits walking around, and we're going to check in. We're like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this? Like, is this serious? Do we need to know something? And most people are like, no, and nobody knows. So we have the baby. 2 days later, they're like, all right, if you want to leave, you can leave, because there are, multiple nurses that have came down with COVID, like multiple staff, like it's starting to like go rampant. We're like, all right, let's get the hell out of here. Like, so we, left a day early, took the baby home. And we kind of just stayed put for like 2 months, like barely, didn't even leave the house. It was crazy. So that took a toll, in a sense, especially, having a wife that, just had a C-section. And we got a 3-year-old at home and a newborn baby, and we're just kind of dialed in and not doing anything. But um, I think it also led to us making the move, down to Georgia. You're sitting around, you're talking, amongst yourselves for so long. You start formulating ideas and can we make this happen? And we did, and yeah, we bought a house during the pandemic. We moved from Massachusetts to Georgia, and we're like, if we can get through this, we can get through anything. So with a 3-year-old and a newborn, so we made it happen and it worked out. And yeah, that's I think the toughest part in a sense. And but yeah, it's never easy with two kids that are that young. I mean, it just takes a lot of patience, and I've learned, like, I have to be patient. I have to be patient. My wife, we have to be patient, because their minds are developing, they're growing, and that's what we need to do.
Hey, there's 2 comments that came in. There's a Shirley that says, "Hi, cuz, love you." All right, hey, Cheryl, thanks for checking us out. Michael CQ, well, Michael Carasquillo, I know him. That's a good buddy of mine. Great guy. He's the person who I'm going to Nashville with. I told you
Oh,
about that pre-lobby. He says, "Are you any good at Madden? And can you give pointers to up my game?" Oh, okay. He's trash talking now. It's
I
on.
mean, I will tell you that I have no clue about Madden. Like, I wish I did, but I really, I, I didn't focus on the video games, coming up. Um, it was crazy. I would try to play them, and I get kind of bored and sidetracked, and I never became a gamer. I mean, part of me, like, wishes I did, just because I know it would give me something to do on my downtime now. But no, I played a lot of Halo though. I did do that with some of my buddies back in the day. I mean, that was 15, 16, 17 years ago. I don't know how old I am now.
Hey, I think that on my dad's side of the family, all right,
Yep.
I think I'm the only gamer out of all the cousins. I don't know if your brother does. I don't think Brandon and Marcus and DJ, none of them. It's me, Austin. I
Yeah.
can't think of Alicia or anybody else games the same way that we do.
I don't know. That's crazy. Yeah. No, I think I was too caught up coming up, like, in that year where you probably get dialed in, that, that, that with school and football and stuff, that I couldn't focus on it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I wish I did, because I mean, I played it a couple times, and I probably get beat. I'm not good. I'm good at the real thing, but
Hey man, 2 kids,
yep.
both planned. Any oopsies? Are there any more? Talk
No,
about it, bro.
no, they were. I mean, we always wanted to. So, um, yeah, it kind of worked out, and we wanted, it kind of worked out that we had a boy and a girl, because we were all about, just having a happy, healthy baby. And the fact that we had the two, and we're kind of happy about that. And we'll see what happens for the future. We're just trying to work on raising them the right way, and being good parents to them.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Now, your oldest girl, is she who does she take more after, you or your wife?
Oh, it's definitely my wife. Yeah, she's looking at me right now. Um, yeah, no, she's stubborn as can be. So I might get smacked here in a minute, but don't hold it against me. Um, no, she's a tough one though. She just has a strong personality. She's strong willed, and like I said, the patience, the patience thing, it weighs on me a lot with her, because we have to, we have to just kind of. She wants to do her own thing all the time, and she doesn't want to do it anybody else's way. So that's been tough. So any of the parents out there, you're not alone. It happens to everybody. Um,
Hmm.
Stuff.
what type of like parenting style do you have? Because in my head, you've got a very chill, laid back parenting style that I would probably see you doing, like hands on, but just chill. You seem like a chill guy, man. What's your parenting style? If you happen to know what type of style that you are as a
Yeah,
parent.
no, I think you hit it on the nail. I think I'm pretty chill in a sense. I try to be at least as much as I can, until you push my threshold, and I'm like, all right, like we got to figure something out because I can't be too nice because then when she's 15, she'll walk all over me. So yeah, it's got to be a good balance, I think. But no one ever knows what they're doing at this point. I mean, we're just kind of trying to figure it out. I think everybody is.
Okay, so you said only two. Now, I've said publicly, I've had the snip. I can't have anymore. Are you talking about doing something like that to help maintain, or do you believe in that?
Yeah, yeah. No,
Okay.
I think yeah, I might have to go ahead and get that done, um, very soon, in a sense, because yeah,
Hey,
um,
man, don't wait. Number three, hey, we might have another pandemic come around, and you and the wife sitting up at the crib, and the kids are
yeah,
sleeping.
you
Next
never
thing you know, boom.
you never know. You never know, I guess. But whatever happens, it's all meant to be.
Yes, sir. Hey, man. So your kids are young, all right? There's a chance that this stays on YouTube forever. What's the one thing that because they're gonna understand things now. But if you had something to impart on them, both of them right now, what's something that you would like for them to know about just life?
About life. Oh man. I think life's going to come at you in many different ways, and I think what makes you as a person is how you react to the tough situations that get thrown at you, um, and you have to be strong regardless, mentally, physically, because things are going to happen, and you have to really focus on how you're going to solve those problems and get out of them, and make yourself a better person for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Man, all right. We've came up to I think a really good natural point, man. I wanted to get you on and talk about coming up and the times that you had with your parents as well, and we covered that. Talk about your time in the league and after that, and we covered that. And you're a brand new parent, man, so it's just starting for you, bro. It's just starting for you.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I know
you
I'm gonna have to call you a lot, so you can impart some wisdom to me.
Hey
Um,
man, I am learning as I go over here, but I love it. I love it. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say I've always wanted to be a dad, but I looked forward to having the opportunity to really shape that next generation and just one person shape that next generation. And it's one of the reasons why I really only wanted one kid.
yeah,
Like you knew that you wanted two. I was just one. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I want to
yeah,
be able to take my energy and time and do my best to give good values to somebody and cross my fingers and just hope that I do it right, man.
there you go. That's all we can hope for, right?
Yes, sir. Well, hey, Mike M. Rich. It's been fun having you on, man. This has been pretty dope. Like I said, 4 years since the last time I think that we've seen each other in person, and this 1 hour and some change has been probably the longest time that we've had the chance to chat like
Yeah,
that. So I'm really thankful for you taking the time out of your day to come onto my show, Chats with Dads with me, and talk about your life. To the family that has watched, we've had some family members and some friends come in as well. Thanks to you guys. We got our auntie in the chat that said, love watching my two nephews. Love y'all family. Love you too.
yeah.
M. Rich, I saw your brother
Yep.
about a month ago and his wife
Hmm.
and Ken, their daughter, who's in college now.
Yeah,
And I've said that it's been a while since all of the cousins have gotten together and have done anything.
yeah,
So let's try and get something up in 2022 where we get Leisha, her husband, DJ, B, Austin, everybody, all the cousins. I know I'm missing some names right now, but you know,
All
I
good.
got this big old head, man. There's things missing.
100, man. I'm all in for that. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Cool. Well, hey man, hang by real quick. I'm gonna close out the show and then chop it up with you, man, after the show ends.
Cool.
All
Sounds good.
right.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya. All right. That was M Rich. Let me fix this real quick. So we've come to the end of the show. I went a little bit past an hour this time, and I think that there's some other stuff that we could have covered as well. But I would like to thank the people that tuned in and those that left comments as well. I appreciate you guys coming on and checking out the show. Um, to the people that are going to be listening to this on audio, if you would like to come on to Chats with Dads, it's real simple. Send me an email address at theactualkingsmith@gmail.com. Attention in the subject, Chats with Dads. We'll bring you on. My goal is to talk to as many as men as I can about life in general, in hopes of getting some type of value out there to other people and just show that, hey, man, everybody has a journey and you aren't the only one that's going through what you're going through. To my family and friends that are watching, I appreciate y'all coming on, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Peace.